And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK show, and this is going to be episode 264. So I hope you guys had a great day, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week that is ahead of you. And in this episode of the MSK show, I am going to be having a conversation with the Whiskey Capitalist podcast, aka Sketchy Jesus, and this is going to be his first appearance on the show. I was on his podcast, either it was last Wednesday or the Wednesday before that, and we had an awesome conversation then, and all the ladies loved me in his chat, as they should, because, you know, I'm charming, rich, successful, good looking, tall, white, you know, usual moniker of getting, you know, women attracted to you. But as you guys know, I had a tweet that went a little crazy. Good Lord, people are still liking it. And I actually have been getting likes from people with like pronouns in their bio. And I want to make sure I reiterate this. I do not just simp for women. I'm pretty sure anyone could just look through my timeline on Twitter, see the tweets that I've made about women. I do not simp for women at all. Not even close. I don't simp for men. None of that shit. You know, I just call it like it is. That's just, it was a saying back in the day. You just tell it like it is, call it how you see it. You know, like, this is all I said about the whole C9 Mango situation, which was basically if drinking alcohol that much is now causing you to lose your job and it's causing you all these many problems in your life, just maybe you could just stop drinking. But then people said, but you didn't say that. That's how stupid the internet is. Just because I didn't say that fully, that must mean that I must think the other way. I didn't cancel him. I never said that he shouldn't get a job in esports ever again. Never said these things. I just said, if this is causing you so much problems in your life, you should probably stop doing it. It's a very simple line of logic, but people are so fucking brain rotted on the internet where they saw a bunch of people that with like pronouns in their bio and LGBTQ friendly in their bios, like my post, and they're like, you must agree with them. It's like, I should talk to trans persons like the same day. Like, no, I don't agree with them at all. But I mean, it's crazy. Even they have better line of reading comprehension skills than you guys do. All I said was, if this thing is causing you so much problems in your life, stop doing it. There's no ifs, ands, ors, or buts. You know, like, it's just not that hard to think about. And just because I didn't fucking type out a giant paragraph doesn't mean I endorse the cancel culture, another way of thinking. I just said something precise and to the point. That's how you have to tweet and become famous. You just type out a tweet that's precise and to the point, and if people imply you think the other thing or don't think the other thing or you feel a certain way, whatever, you know, just explain that later. But man, Twitter is just such a great place. You could say like, I like waffles. You must hate pancakes. You're a pancake, sis. All pancakes lives matter. It's like, fuck's wrong with you, fucking weirdo? What in the world?
Calm down, everyone. Like, it's everyone has an opinion. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, like, I'm not even saying those girls didn't even like that stuff, because girls are fucking weird and they like a lot of weird.
Explain to me the situation, because I'm kind of lost. So what did you get?
Basically, long story short, this guy named Mango, who's a big Smash Brothers Melee competitor, it's like one of the most legendary people in the scene. He was half naked in his boxer shorts. It was at an event where he's never been good with alcohol ever. He's always been just a blackout drunk. Basically went behind a girl and dry humped her twice in the back of the head. Then got on top of the table and started humping the air. One of the girls named Extra Emily, she laughed about it. And the other girl was just surprised, shocked, laughing. Now, keep in mind, I thought this, girls are weird. They might like that shit. I have no clue what they like. I'm not simping for women. I'm just saying, hey, you do that, that's going to come off a certain way. Should you be punished for it? I don't know. The reason, and keep in mind, Cloud9, I love Cloud9. I've been a Cloud9 fan forever, honestly. 10 years strong since 2014. You know, first ever esport org I was a fan of, and I've met the owner several times going out to LA. I like Cloud9, but it's weird when Cloud9 want to fire someone for harassment, but then they took money from Saudi Arabia, which is funding the Esports World Cup. So, which literally, you know, off gay people. Actually, the week they went to that tournament last year, gay people were getting offed in Minecraft, allegedly.
And also we're on YouTube right now, so I'm glad that you just qualified your statement a certain way, because I say dumb shit and I'm just on Rumble and X, so when we do our shows, so I need to make sure that there aren't any making them at night comments and bundles of sticks words that get said.
I hate those maggots. I think
exactly.
Volcano. in Minecraft.
Yeah, exactly. And the developmentally disabled.
So down the road, whenever you come back on the show for second, third appearances, we'll have already gotten this out of the way, as people love their origin stories. Since this is your first appearance. So how was your life growing up, actually?
It was good, man. I mean, I like a lot of people, a lot of people that were born in the 80s and 90s and all that. Had the my mom, my dad. They weren't married when they had me. They were friends, and then oops, I happened, and then whatever. So but doesn't mean I got 2 Christmases and 2 birthdays and 2 everything, so it was great. But yeah, I love my dad, love my mom, I love my stepdad, love everyone. I was raised great, had a good mixture of parenting examples. But yeah, so it was I grew up, I'm here in California, and which feel sorry for me, I guess. But yeah, and then I started playing music. I played baseball when I was a kid, and then started playing music when I was 8. I went and saw Van Halen live, and I was like, yeah, I want to do that. And so my dad got me a guitar, and I've been a musician my whole life. Started playing in bands when I was like 16, 17 in high school, and then kind of music directed me wherever I was going to go. I lived in Austin, Texas for about 7 years. Just came back here to California in the end of 2014. So been an interesting life for sure, but can't complain.
So since you have a music industry background, what is your general thoughts on the music industry as a whole? Because, back in the day, it was like pretty interesting of the way we used to all consume music. Either you listened to it on the radio, you bought like these certain devices at like liquor stores that would have a radio station that you would listen to music from. Like just people burning songs on CDs and all that stuff. You had boom boxes and all that crap. And then it went to like MP3s and like Zunes and all that stuff and iPods. And now you can just basically just download music and get on your phone pretty much for free.
Yeah. I mean, just like everything, there's good and bad. There's positives and negatives. And I'm not one of these people that there's very few things in my life that I am that's like black or white. You know what I mean? That's like there's no nuance at all in any conversation. I think most things in life, one of the only things that I'm bad about is like, don't fuck around with kids, don't cheat on people. Just like there's certain moral boundaries where it was very black and white. But with when it comes to music, it's I mean the accessibility now to make your own music and produce it and mix it and do all that and put it out yourself and all that, and you can be on Spotify and just happen to get some traction is great. I mean, there also that comes with that is there's a bunch of morons that don't know what they're doing and make trash music, and then they're able to just put it out there and whatever. And I think the whole Napster era, I can understand. I can understand both sides of that. I mean, as a musician, it does suck, not being paid royalties for your things and for your music and where it's going and all that. But at the same time, your music is also getting out to more people, so that's more people that might come to see your shows, buy your merch, buy your CDs in the first place. But there's plenty of I use LimeWire, I use the Pirate Bay, I used all that stuff when I was growing up, and
I LimeWire.
Yeah, dude. The BitTorrent, all that, dude. I know I'm dating myself. Sorry. But yeah, I don't use Just for Men. Like there's gray hairs in there somewhere, I swear. But yeah, no, I mean, there are definitely a lot of bands that I learned about through all of that I never would have listened to. I never would have, heard about and everything. So there's positives to it. And I'm sure that, that's the story with a lot of people. But I mean, I think that there are definitely, negatives and positives to the way music has been. One of the big things with music is that it's very leftist, very left wing, which is a big reason why. There were multiple reasons why I backed out of music in like 2018 for a little bit. One of the reasons why is because it's so politically one-sided, and and my opinions of things. I've always been, like libertarian conservative. When I was in Austin and it was a very liberal city, I had a little bit more liberal tendencies, just kind of who you are. And like, you are your friends, you are your community that you're around, you kind of mold to that a little bit in your own bubbles. But once I came back out to California and became more conservative, I know that's kind of an oxymoron, but once I realized that being in the spaces that I was in music, it's it's very difficult to kind of, and I didn't really want to have those conversations. I didn't want to push people away, whatever. Like feel very strongly about it, but I just didn't want to, deal with it. And then also after almost making it and then it not happening and almost, and then so many different things, almost having the band to get, whatever. And then it just kind of getting discouraged with it. I didn't want to be so discouraged where I hated music and never wanted to play again. So I just kind of backed out. But yeah, I mean, it is, I just my band that I have right now, it's kind of like a project because it's just me who did all the everything besides my singer who did the vocals. But yeah, we just released our debut album May 30th. So got back into it, did all the mixing, the production, the engineering, the mixing, the mastering, writing, all the everything myself, which is awesome because I get to be kind of in control of it. But then also it is, there's like I said, there's positives and negatives to everything, man. Like it would be cool to have that much more help from other band members, promoting or a label or this or, whatever. But at the same time, I get to kind of have control of all that, so I don't know.
Because back then, whenever like new songs would drop, especially like new music videos, it felt like people just appreciated music more because it was not as hard, it was not as easy to get. Now, when you could basically just go on YouTube or any other place and just look up a song and listen to it and just put it on your phone, it just feels like people just don't appreciate it enough anymore. It was like you go back in those comments, like, man, people were making some creative music videos back in the day. I'm so never gonna forget the fucking music video with Twisted Sister and the fucking teacher's like, what do you want to do with your life? And guys like, I want to rock. It's like, we need to bring back the fun in the music videos. Now every single music video I see, even for the new songs, are like, it's either some flashy lights or some bullshit like that, or it's fucking dude rapping about him blowing out 4 different chicks. It's like, well, that's just sad.
It's and I don't think it'll ever change with music, that there are the ones at the top, the labels, the this, the that are pushing a certain, there's trends, there's certain certain types of music, certain sounds, certain melody, all that stuff like that the big labels go for and that get pushed a lot. But I think with having so many independent artists being able to put out their own music and do all that stuff, it does open the potentiality for new trends or new this to go with. But then it also stifles uniqueness because one person sees a trend and then everyone tries to go for that, and then it becomes, so it gets kind of it can be annoying but also beneficial if you are the one that is not right starting that wave of that trend, so but teach their own, I guess.
So after music, essentially, you did end up getting married.
Yes.
Do you guys have kids or anything?
No. I mean, we got married. I met my wife in 2017, the beginning of 2017, and we got married in the end of 2018, in November of 2018, and when we got married, it was kind of around the time, like in 2018, I think in June of 2018, I put out a single of the band that I'm doing right now. It's called Hero in Me. I put out one single and I did everything, including the vocals on that one. And it was the first time I put out anything with my vocals on it. And I was definitely, happy with it and, and proud of it, doing it all myself. Now listening back to it, I'm like, I'm glad we redid it because the production, I had just learned how to do mixing and doing all that stuff. So it's just, self-taught. And but yeah, doing that again with the discouragement, and then also I was like, if I start this band up and do this, we start touring and doing all this, like, as gay as it sounds, I met my best friend. You know what I mean? Like I met my person, and I didn't want to, if there was a band, I didn't want to like leave for like 3 months and be away, from my new wife, like we were making a life together. So like, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to take a step back for that reason, for a couple other reasons as well. The reasons I said as well. And then I was like, but I still want to do something artistic. I still want to put content out there for me because I'm still, an artist. I have that side of me. I always have been. So And then I was watching, Joe Rogan. I was watching the Your Mom's House podcast, like a lot of like funny stuff. And I realized Your Mom's House podcast, it's Tom Segura and his wife, and they're both comedians and they're doing a show. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, hey, wife, you want to do a podcast? And so me and her started doing a show called the Till Death Podcast, which we still do every other Saturday. It's and it's just, husband and wife stuff. We just talk shit, like whatever. And then we were doing that for we were doing audio only for about 55 episodes, and then started doing pre-recorded video stuff where I had 3 or 4 different cameras, one on me, one on her, one main, and then I would edit it all together, and it was so much work. But it was fun. It was just doing it for fun. Just, it was fun to talk with. We had a good couple of guests, and then I, with just promoting that, throwing it up there on Twitter, on, Instagram, whatever, I met a guy named Sean Cav, who had his own show called Sipping with Sean. And he messaged me and said, hey man, I really like what you're doing. Would you ever want to be a guest on my show? It'd be cool to collaborate and do stuff. So I had him on our show on a little different section where it's just Ian interviews. There's just me and him, just me interviewing people. And so I interviewed him. It was the longest show that we'd ever done. It wasn't a live show at that point. I still, edited that one. And then I went on his show. It was the longest guest he'd ever have on, longest episode he's done. So we realized, all right, we got some chemistry, right? Like we maybe we should try and do stuff. And so we both realized that we're, into politics and talking about that, and we agreed on stuff. So, hey, what's going on, Selena? I see you in the chat over there.
Hi, Selena.
And so we started up a thing called the Whiskey Capitalist Podcast, which is, this is what we do on Mondays and Wednesdays. And that's
You're not a chronic alcoholic.
No. Okay. So everyone gets it. Do we like whiskey? Yes. Do we like alcohol? Yes. But that is not the reasoning for the name of the show. The name of the show, The Whiskey Capitalist, is a take on the champagne socialist. So so we just wanted to flip that around, and we thought it would be funny. And, whiskey and capitalist, those are kind of buzzwords. And so I think people would, so of course, anytime, I'm on X and I'm on the Whiskey Cap, thing, and I say something like, oh, go get drunk again. It's like, okay, you're dumb. But yeah, so we started doing that, and it's been great. We've had a bunch of shows going on. Sean had to take a step back at the beginning of this year with some family stuff going on. So it was me, and we had Casey, the soundboard lord. He used to be on Crowder, on Louder with Crowder for a while. He was my co-host for a while, and then it just ended up not working out at the end of May. So it's just been kind of me with guests at this point. But tomorrow I do have announcement. Our first the first show of our new co-host is going to be tomorrow night. So it's kind of cool. I'm not telling anyone about it yet, but kind of cool. And yeah, we've had a bunch of cool guests. We had on Viva Fry. We've had Chad Prather on, had the QAnon shaman, the Lectern guy. We got a bunch of really cool and interesting guests. Buck Angel has been on our show a bunch of times too. Just like really interesting people. And it's just been a lot of fun, man. Opened up a lot of opportunities and people that I didn't think I would talk to,
Excellent, because you do everything you stream basically through Rumble and X. That's it, right?
Yes. Yeah. We used to do YouTube, but we ran into some problems. We have 4 shows on our network. It's called the Till Death Podcast Network. It's Till Death Podcast. It's Whiskey Capitalist. Sean used to have his show Sipping with Sean on there, and then Movies America. It's a movie review show on Sundays and Thursdays with one of our buddies, Van. Mm-hmm. But when Sean was doing his show he was doing them on Fridays, and he did a thing called Friday Night Fatherless Fights. We didn't say it a certain race, but it's implied, and they didn't really like that. So yeah, we got kind of, and we're like, screw this. Let's just go straight to Rumble. Like, just go to Rumble and X. That's, we're not going to get, censored there. We were on a platform called pilled.net for a little while, just as a restream, but it just, we didn't see the traction as much from it. Love the people there. Maven, who works at Pilled, and all the people at Pilled, they're great, but we just didn't have the traction. Let's just funnel everyone to Rumble, So
did you ever try Odyssey? Like, people tried. I think Odyssey fell off. I don't think anyone is over there anymore.
Yeah, it's very like, the reason why I like Rumble is, yes, it is, it's more conservative, more libertarian on that side. It is like bubble-ish, but it's less bubble-ish than Odyssey or some of the other platforms. So I do kind of, it is the closest thing to YouTube without being YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think what a lot of people don't really understand is, like, even though you're able to do it, that is great. But just, if you're not really seen on YouTube, then people just really just don't know you exist, and it's so hard to just exist in front of people without YouTube, because it has the biggest platform out of any of these. Maybe, even if you're on Twitch, like I told people, being on Twitch is worthless too. Because Twitch doesn't even have an algorithm for you to get discovered. At least with YouTube, they'll throttle it, but at least you can find like avenues of getting discovered.
Yeah.
Very, very hard, but it's possible. Twitch is nothing. Twitch is literally, I guess you have to be half naked to freaking get a viewer or something like that.
Or Hassan.
You could be Hassan, yeah, and people would watch that guy, and he's just the absolute worst thing on the internet probably ever.
And then he gets up in the middle of his streams and just, streams his chair. You know what I mean? What are we doing here? I mean, I'm sure his chair gives way better political opinions than he does. So, I mean, at least we're free of his smooth brain when he leaves.
I don't even get it either. Like, viewers complain that smaller people are boring, but then they'll watch a channel streaming that's a fucking chair there. I really don't like. That's why I know the average person is fucking stupid, and I would never give my actual thought to their brain process, because I realize that the average person is so dumb. They've just tunnel visioned everything on a weird mindset where if you just literally just tap it a little bit, like when you tap like a fish tank, it would just shatter, honestly.
No. Most people in society have two brain cells and both of them are fighting for third place. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, we're not working we're not pulling from a good group of people. Like,
yeah, like, it's one of those things where Rumble recently, I'm pretty sure you saw it, for the Rumble Creator Program, they're going to try to have the 20 unique chatters. And that's so insane when to get affiliate on Kick and Twitch, I'm pretty sure it's only like Twitch, I know it's 3 people. Kick, I'm pretty sure it might be like 5 or whatever. Rumble is requiring 20 when it's a less viewed platform. It's like, this is ridiculous. And the statement that he had made, which was just basically, I want to give more to creators that are providing more engagement, and people that aren't providing engagement, they'll have to work harder for it. That's essentially what he had said. But it's like, it just felt so tone deaf. Like, just because someone has 20 people watching their show and they have one person chatting is no different than someone that's 50 viewers, maybe like 20 people chatting. Like, both are providing you something. Just because one is, it's so hard to get people to come into live streams, especially live stream podcasts that are, you can watch in the replay later on. So hard to get people to invest their time into you and watch your stuff. Just because someone has less of it doesn't make them less valuable of a creator than someone that basically just got lucky and now has more people. Because people would say on Rumble, which I do agree with, you should probably collab more, which would help. But I've collabed with several different Rumble people. It's not really enhanced anything as far as like viewership on Rumble. It really hasn't. It's still been the same, which is fine. I mean, I have some level of an audience there, which is fine. Yeah. I'm not the person who complains about views. If my videos, if I release them, get like 30 views, I'm cool. If it gets 10 views, I'm cool with it. I really couldn't care. But when someone says you're providing not enough because you have lower engagement, that thing just kind of triggers me, because it's like, what do you mean? What is that supposed to mean? I don't get that.
I could see your point on that. I think what I think is, we've also been in such a society where it's instant gratification and it's like entitlement, where I think I'm entitled to an audience. I'm entitled to have people watch me, and it takes out a lot of the work. And I think that while it seems like it could be a little, a little much, it just makes you put in fucking effort. Like, put in some effort to your show, send out the messages, get people to come into your show. Dude, we have a small show too. You know what I mean? I'm not saying this from from any point of like, I'm from a high horse. I'm saying like, if you want to get paid and you want that, you gotta work. I don't like. Is this like a foreign concept, like, to me? So I'm like, I get it. Like, it sucks because of what we've been used to from certain things, but like, he's just being like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna reward you for having for putting in the effort and putting in the work, because if you're putting in the work as a creator, then it's obviously going to benefit him as the platform, so I again, like I said, there's nuance in almost every discussion, like, so I
There's
get.
nuance and everything. That's crazy. That's
No, it's
insane.
weird. I know
Twitter
that
would
that's
make you
like,
believe otherwise.
it's fascist to, like, say there's nuance in a conversation,
Yeah, just like the NAACP, they're like, yeah, we can't have Trump here because we don't want to platform fascism. It's like,
what?
yeah, they're not going to have Trump at their thing that they have because of something with fascism or some bullshit like that. It's fucking
Wouldn't
ridiculous.
that be fascism that you're doing? Because
you should look it up, talk about it on your show. It'll be the funniest thing ever. It's actually the most stupidest thing possible. It's gonna be the first president ever to not be in that whatever they do at the NAACP.
yeah, okay, I'm so sad. Yeah, like, yeah, but it's like, hold on. So wait, you're saying that Trump's a fascist, but you're censoring his speech. So isn't that fucking fascism?
You have to realize their logic doesn't apply to them. It only goes out. It doesn't sink in. That's how it works.
2 brain cells fighting for third place. This is what's going on with most people right now.
And like, I tell people this when it comes to like podcasts. I've been, as people know, because Michael had reminded me that I hadn't really uploaded a podcast episode to my Spotify for Podcasters account in a while. Today, I just finished uploading the rest of the episodes for season 13 of the Cloud9 podcast, and I'm gonna upload the rest of episodes for season 14, all the way to season 15 where it's at, then the rest of the Iron Man podcast and episode of this show. It takes so much time to get people invested into this. And keep in mind, just because you invest this much time doesn't mean there's going to be anybody that even cares what you're doing. I mean, people are just, it's how I've learned when it comes to groups of people. I'm not saying this is about anyone, I'm just saying this is what I've seen in general throughout all my time with groups. Is like, a few people will kind of pick one person that they think is whatever. Maybe they said something that they liked, or maybe they helped them with something, whatever. They'll pick that person and they only give that person all their time. And everyone else is kind of like, well, if you're not in that sphere, then you're kind of just fucked. That's how it works. Yeah. And then what I've learned from that is you go and create your own shit. Because I've always never really been a fan of that. I like just getting my own stuff. If someone else is like, hey, I'm only gonna suck off this person and gravitate that person, that's cool. I'll go and get my own shit. That's all that matters. Because back years ago, when I had this like other group, all they would do was just suck off this one person. Or these two people would just be sucking off each other, jerking each other off on stream. Oh my God, your opinion's so good about movies. Your opinion's so good. It's like, you guys are fucking gay. It's fucking really gay to do that. And then when everyone left, they were like, why? It's like, well, I'm not gonna be around people like this who don't respect my opinion, who don't think I'm contributing anything, even though I'm 8 times smarter than all these people in general. Like, my movie opinions, anything, I try to put the most thought into every opinion I have because I try to at least expand upon it. And then it was the group that I had interacted with before this one that I'm in, where these people were just the absolute most insufferable people on the planet. It's like, I'm not doing this anymore. I just leave. Just like my dad. I'm out. Skittles, bag of Skittles, and I'm out. I love Skittles. It's just great. Bag of Skittles and fucking 2-liter bottle of 7-Up. That's how it works.
So you're just like, I'm gonna go get some milk. I'm out. I'm not going back.
And that works for people. I mean, hey, people gravitate to who they gravitate to, but that doesn't mean, that someone else isn't trying because you don't see it there. I think everyone is trying, because to be fair, at the end of the day, we're all of us are just sitting in a fucking chair, gaming or podcasting. We're not doing anything really that special. We're not out there in the world, like what Charlie Kirk is doing.
We're not touching grass, basically.
Yeah. I probably should go touch grass. That's crazy.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I'm like, I need to not be in this chair.
Yeah, that's happened for me last night at the. I was like, you know what? I need to go to the gym. I went to the gym and I all to myself. I think I went Super Saiyan. Like, I don't even know what happened to me. I got my power level over 9,000. It was fucking amazing.
I really want to see the CCTV footage from that gym. But no, like, I think that is a big problem that from both sides, from any, fucking spectrum of people, is that they find that, and I'm not saying that you don't find the people that you like and you listen to and whatever, but I think that people only listen to those people and never expand and open their thinking. Like, I'm conservative. I'm like conservative libertarian is where I would say, but that doesn't mean that I only listen to conservatives and libertarians. I still listen. Like I fucking watch Jimmy Dore. I watch fucking Glenn Greenwald. I watch like a lot of people that are more on the left, but I listen to them for one to see the opinions of the other side of, opposing of me, but I also watch people that are at least honest. That like I might not agree with their opinion, but at least they're presenting actually like factual information and then giving their opinion on it. I might think that they're wrong, but it's like at least trustworthy. Like I trust that they're going to give me actual factual information and then their brain rot opinion on whatever. But like I try and expand what I'm listening to and what I'm watching, because it takes critical thinking and to like kind of have opinions on these things. And you're not using critical thinking if you're only in your bubble and in your little safe space of information. It doesn't make sense to me, you know?
What did you think about the recent situation regarding World War III and a bunch of these
Oh God.
conservatives essentially kind of going out on Trump? Because the thing is, no one presents nuance, like you said. It's like I've always said this: you can be skeptical, you can voice your opinion, but when it comes to like, oh my God, everything is just over, doom and gloom, and it's like nobody let anything play out. They just automatically jump the shark. You know?
Yeah, no, and you know, and that also that's a detriment to, you know, being a content creator, being a political, you know, pundit, you know, or whatever, you know, talking about it, is you have to have an opinion immediately. And it's like, no, I mean, you can have be like, I don't know yet. Like I would trust someone more that's like, here's the facts, here's what's happened, but I don't know the way I feel about it yet because it just happened. Like, but my take on it, and I, you know, me and my wife watched the Trump speaking for that couple of minutes when he came out with it, and you know, whatever, I watched it, and my immediate thing was like, because the more libertarian part of me is the non-aggression principle, anti-war, and you know, stuff like that, which is a big reason why I voted for Trump. I voted for, this is the third time I voted for him, so it's not like I didn't vote for him before. But
it definitely stole that last election.
Yeah, exactly. 2020 was interesting, let's just say.
Yeah, I find it funny that all those people that voted for Biden just magically didn't show up and do it again. He was doing such a great job.
Oh, you mean all those people that voted for him more than voted for Obama, like the historical first black guy?
All the dead people that.
Okay, weird. Okay.
Crazy. You know, I must have been seeing things when I saw that stuff. I was.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you know, it was 2020. We were all, you know, we were all huffing something because of COVID. I don't know, trying to figure shit out. But anyways, like I think that like I am not a believer in anyone is perfect. Like I am, you know, I'm obviously not the best example of it, and but I'm, you know, I'm Christian. I was raised Christian, and you know, in Christianity, there's only one perfect person, and it was Jesus. You know, and I'm not gonna, you know, not you know, trying to be preachy or anything like that, but based on my belief system, there was one perfect person, and that's it, and no one else is. So every single person is fallible, and not any person that you talk with or whatever you're going to agree with 100%, because that's not the way life works. Yeah. So I think that probably about 90 to 95% of what Trump does, I agree with. The other 5%, I don't. And I'm the type of person that says credit where it's due and criticism where it's due. And if he does something great, I'm going to support him. If he doesn't, I'm going to be like, that was fucking dumb. And with my anti-war and my non-interventionist, you know, principles, I don't think that was great. But also, with there being nuance in things, I also understand the point of, I don't think Iran should have a nuke. They're kind of fucking crazy. So if this is all that happens, where he got rid of their capability to have a nuke and there's no war, fucking cool, man. Like, great. But if it starts war, if it gets us into another forever war, like, you know, the past presidents have done, then no, I'm against that. We don't need to be involved. And I really don't like, one of the things too is I really don't like the Israel first mindset of a lot of people, and that's not just on the ones that support them. I don't support the people that are against Israel, but everything is Israel's fault. Like, so to me, that's Israel first as well.
I've always seen it like this, where, you know, people have this weird thing where just because you say you don't like something about a certain group of people, that means you automatically just must hate all of them. It's like, why are we operating under this belief that there can't be bad Jewish people? That's actually stupid. That mindset itself is actually so stupid that it's basically what the Democrats do when they're like, well, if you don't like this black person's opinion, you must be a racist. There's no difference.
I just don't like his opinion. Like,
yeah. I never got that. I never got like, oh, because I don't like this Jewish person's opinion, that must mean I hate them all. It's like, where do you even come up with that line of thinking? That's ridiculous. But to be fair, technically, they're always going to be shielded by the Holocaust that happened. It's always going to happen.
And to me, and I agree with that too. And to me, I think a lot of and I think it's Netanyahu. I don't think it's Jewish people as a whole or Israelis as a whole.
I think it's just a small group of rich people that are doing
these things. Netanyahu is a big reason why, and again, there's nuance to that, because I understand that Israel being the only non-Muslim a state or country in the Middle East, I understand where he's coming from. He's got to be defensive. I mean, he's got to, deal with things because everyone's trying to come after him. I fucking get that, man. Like, I am not in any way discounting that, but I think that he's taken it to an extent where to me, it's kind of like having a drunk girlfriend or a drunk wife that gets the husband or the boyfriend in a fight because they run their fucking mouth. Like, that's the way I see Israel right now, because they're getting us involved in something that we don't need to be involved in. I can't stand it. But at the same time, I think that if Netanyahu wasn't in there, then I think Iran might have come to the table a little bit quicker or been able to have some sort of agreement, because I think Netanyahu is the one that is, especially since October 7th with all that stuff, which is horrible and is atrocious what Hamas did. But I think that because of actions that have happened after that, that I think that the goodwill that the Jewish people have had because of the Holocaust and because of the stuff that's been done to them, I think that goodwill has been dwindled down a lot because of the actions of Netanyahu. So I think using that as a crutch is a very valid crutch, because that was fucking horrible with 6 million people getting fucking put in gas chambers. I don't know, man. It's kind of fucked up. It seems like a fucking basic point, but I think that with the actions that have been taken, I think that is that it's dwindled down, and that's why a lot more people are kind of like taking the red pill on that situation. But if that means that if this whole thing means that we went in, we took out their capability, which I have questions about that too, man, because if you look, Netanyahu has been saying that Netanyahu and all the neocons and the warhawks and everyone, the Marco Rubios and the fucking John Boltons and the John McCains, of government have been saying for 35 years, because of what Netanyahu's saying, that Iran is 1 to 3 weeks or 1 to 3 years away from getting a nuke. And it's like, okay, but you said that in 92. Like,
classic fear mongering.
Exactly. So are we using the same narratives and the same propaganda that got us into fucking WMDs in Iraq and like all this shit? No, like, let's not do that again. Let's learn from our history and not fucking let it repeat itself. And to me, it's like the same thing as like leftists with climate change. It's like, so aren't we supposed to be frozen over? Or wait, hold on, are we burning? I don't know you've been promising this or saying all this shit, so I don't know.
And then when you like have conversations about that stuff, but people would, like, a person that does believe that, not a politician, would be like, but it's going to happen. It's like, yeah, you said it was going to happen like in 1960. We're in 2025. I just crazy food for thought here. It's not going to happen, and you're full of shit. It's like,
either Netanyahu was lying, he was wrong for 35 years, or there's no good outcome of him promising those things and then it not happening. So maybe it's like how many times are we going to listen to the boy crying wolf?
I agree. Yeah. And then I will say this too, to balance out what people have been saying on Twitter. It's been mostly like, just because someone is skeptical of what Trump might do, I wouldn't say that they're not for him. Like, it's turning into this weird thing of like, what if I just don't agree with what he said? Then someone would be like, but that means you must automatically are not MAGA. You're not this. It's like, what if I just don't agree with him? Am I not allowed to disagree? It's like,
Yeah.
People are making it out to be this big thing of just blatantly disagreeing without understanding, hey, you can disagree with someone but still like them too. Like, it's a huge thing. It's like, oh no, like I think the Hodge twins got it bad. They're like, we found out you guys really weren't conservatives because you questioned Trump, and it's like, over this. So nothing else they prior did mattered. It was just this that made it be like they're not for Trump. It's like, I just don't get it. I don't accept that line of thinking. That's just so cringe. Now, if someone does it like 5 times in a row, maybe you got to start questioning. But if someone just, if they've been voting for Trump since 2016 and they've only disagreed with like 1 or 2 things, it's safe to say they're probably a fan of his and they have probably MAGA to some degree. But just because they disagreed on one thing does not make that they're not a Trump fan.
Again, there's nuance. There's nuance in every discussion, man. And I think that, like you're saying, just because I don't agree with this, which I don't know if I fully don't agree. I don't agree with getting us involved in other wars. Like, we shouldn't be involved in Ukraine. We shouldn't be involved in fucking Israel, Hamas, or Israel, Iran, or Israel, Lebanon, or Israel, anything. We shouldn't be giving money or military anything. If people want to buy weapons from us, fucking cool. That's great. We'll sell you shit. That's fine. But we shouldn't be bombing or shouldn't be giving money on behalf of someone else. It should be America first. Now, again, I understand if this is what needs to be done so Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. Yes, I completely agree on that. Maybe I'm not in the fucking intelligence community. I'm not in the government, so I don't know all the information that is coming out, but everyone on the internet seems like they fucking know. So, like, let's listen to some other developmentally disabled, because that's the word that I'm going to use while we're on YouTube right now, person on the internet that seems to just know everything, just like everyone knew about COVID, just like everyone knows about inflation, just like everyone knows about everything. Like, no.
People on Twitter behave I know everyone on Twitter calls out people on Reddit, but people on Twitter act the same way. Redditors at least they own it. People just own their fucking pieces of shit over there. Twitter people act like they're just the more smarter people because they use a different social media app. It's the most cringe, gayest thing in the world.
It's just people, man. Like, it's just a different platform. But and again, I'm going to give more leeway to Trump than I would to Obama or Biden or Clinton or any of these people, because
there was all the uproar when Obama did these things. I remember, I don't think he was a great president overall, but he did do the deportation thing very, very well. I was giving credit for that. He did a great deportation thing. That was probably the only thing he has. People say the healthcare thing, that's garbage. The deportation thing he did was way better. He did that really good. Where's the uproars in the streets? Where's the riots and everything?
I think a big thing, the reason why the people on the left aren't in uproar about that is because he also did DACA and the Dreamers and everything like that. So it kind of like he did the deportations, but then he let all these fucking anchor babies.
Another thing, the way the media treated Obama, from what I remember, was that he was just God's gift to Earth because he was the first black president or whatever. Where it's like with Trump, it's basically kind of like that old saying. It's not about how you say it, it's about who's saying. Well, those sayings basically, it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. But the media doesn't function that way. The media functions like, doesn't matter who says it. Yeah, it's just because it's Trump saying it, they don't like it. If Obama said the same things, which they said very similar things. That's why they were having a conversation at that one guy's funeral earlier this year, and they were smiling because I would imagine he agrees with them on a lot of things, but he can't say it publicly because backlash.
Well, it's there's no matter if you like him or you don't like him. Tim Pool was being asked a question. I think it was on the Trigonometry podcast with Konstantin Kissin and the other British moron that he has on there. But they were asking Tim Pool a question about, okay, so why do you treat Trump differently than Biden? Like, if Biden were to do the same things that Trump's doing, would you give him the kind of not a pass, but kind of more leeway in doing? He's like, no, if Biden did the same thing, I would react differently because I see Trump I see Trump's morals and ideals as aligning with mine, and Biden's is the opposite of that. So if Trump does something that I disagree with, I'm still going to give him more leeway and still trust what he's doing because of that fact. And with Biden, I think that he's just trying to ruin the country. So I'm not going to give him that same leeway. Same thing here. Like, even though I disagree with maybe the way he went about it, and again, there's nuance in that. I mean, I understand that Iran is the biggest state sponsor of terror around. They scream death to America all the time. Now maybe screaming death to America and us needing to bomb them for screaming that, there's a conversation about that one, but I understand where a lot of people's opinions are and where they come from, and I get that. But I'm going to give more leeway to Trump with doing this. Now, if Biden would have done this, I would have been like, did he really do it? Was an auto pen that signed off on the bombing? Like, was it, some some 23-year-old TikTok influencer staffer that's on, on his team that's doing it? Or it's really him. I'm gonna criticize him more than I would for Trump, because I voted for the guy, and I want him to
stop that almost Korea war that was supposed to happen back in 2016 with Kim Jong or something like that. I mean, people also, like you mentioned earlier, when it comes to news, is everyone just wants to vet their useless opinion so early that they don't wait for other information to come out. Usually, sometimes even before we do news videos here, I'll let my ideas and thoughts simmer on a situation before I even make it a topic. That's why, the news videos I do here with the people that I do them with, they're typically longer, because I really want us to like think and go over the way we've thought things, because I don't want to just, I did that back in the day on the, different YouTube channel that may or may have gotten retconned by YouTube. I remember I used to just see information and just immediately go up the video and go, this is what I think. But it's like, I feel like I give better thoughts when I've been able to hold my thoughts and then really process them over time. But no one does that, and then fucking idiots online and be like, well, I'm gonna go, I hate Trump now, I regret ever voting for him. I don't care about your opinion. You have 5 followers, and you barely get a like on your post. No one cares what you say.
And I also think that a big problem that we have with any political discourse or any discourse on social media or on the internet too is no one has the ability to be accountable for their bad opinions or say they were wrong. Like like when the whole George Floyd thing happened, right? When the whole Floyd thing happened, because the reason, so when it first happened, I was like, that's fucked up. Like that, like the way that happened. And the reason why I had that opinion was because it wasn't a 15-20 second fucking clip or, cut out portion of what happened. It was 8.5 minutes, dude. So like watching that whole thing, I was like, okay, well, there's at least it's longer. And it seems like from what I'm seeing here, that was fucked up. And what Chauvin did was bullshit. But then you watch the full body cam of the whole interaction and you realize, no, I was wrong on that. Like there's an episode of the Till Death podcast. If you go back and you watch it, at the very beginning, I was like, this is fucked up. Like me and my wife were talking about, this is horrible. Like this shouldn't happen, whatever. But then when you actually go back through and you look at it, you're like, and if I haven't said it yet, which I'm pretty sure I have, I'm like, yeah, I was wrong about that. I was wrong that Chauvin was wrong about that, but no one wants to admit that they were wrong about stuff. Like, I mean, that's why I have a lot of respect for Tucker Carlson. Because Tucker Carlson pushed the Iraq war, pushed a lot of stuff that was going on back then because of the influence that he had, or the influence that other people had on him, and the networks that he was working for, and the information that he was getting. But he's since come out and been like, yeah, that was wrong. I shouldn't have been pushing that. This is just dumb. And I can respect someone that has some accountability and that can like go back and be like, hey man, I was wrong. Sucks. Let's move on from here. Like, sorry. I don't know. It just seems like no one has the ability to do that anymore. And it's kind of sad,
That's the other notion that people have now subscribed to on Twitter, is that like your brain has been so conditioned to scroll and interact, type on your phone, get to the next fucking thread, that people say so much shit that even when a person does apologize, you're like, man, I forgot you even said that. Or people will go, wow, I never thought you could actually. If you're wowed at the fact that someone could just apologize for being wrong, that's when shit in society is hit the fucking fan. You're surprised they actually just admitted they were wrong. Yeah, I expect that usually just in women.
Yeah, same thing with me. Like I support Trump, not 100%, but most of the time I don't support anyone 100%. I don't even support myself 100% of the time. Sometimes I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking? But like, I support Trump, but am I still like mad about the fact that he pushed the vaccine? Yes. Am I still mad about the fact that he's never come out and been like, hey man, that wasn't maybe the right thing, that I should have pushed this, like I get what he was trying to do and trying to get a vaccine out as you know, as fast as he could, and you know that he thought was worked. I can understand his positioning on it, but as we've seen with side effects, as we've seen with a lot of stuff that you know that has happened, that it did it really work? I don't fucking know. They were saying it was like 90% or 95% effective, or like 100% effective, and then like 2 months later, it's like it's like 45. You know what I mean? Like there were things that were a little not right about that. I know on YouTube you'll probably get a little key thing at the bottom of actually the COVID vaccine is so stupid. So whatever, fuck you YouTube. But I still think that he should at least have it's that accountability thing. Like I'm all about accountability, man. If you're wrong about something, or you say something dumb, or whatever, be accountable for it, and then just don't do it again. Like it's happened with me and my old co-host Sean. There'd be plenty of times where me and him disagreed, and maybe I went a little extra. I was a little extra about something, and I would be like, hey man, maybe I still have the same opinion, but sorry that I went about it the way that I did. I'll try not to do that. Or if he brought something up, to be like, yeah, hey, fuck, I'm sorry, man, like I won't do that. That's what a friendship is. That's what being a fucking regular human is. So Trump not doing that, I don't agree with the way he handled a lot of that, but that doesn't mean that I just don't support him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because you'll also have people that will basically they want to just be the first person to be right about something. Sure. Where you'll have situations like with Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, where it's like, you guys are kind of, I can see why Trump would be angry about that stuff, because it's like they're not even letting a situation play out. They're just basically telling everyone the end result without even knowing the end result. And it's like, they don't even say certain things like this maybe might not happen. They just go, well, all of this might happen if these things happen. It's like, no. Everything's a might. Nothing's actually set in stone until it actually happens. Yeah.
It's assumptions. And I, and again, I can understand that where they're coming from for multitude of reasons. I think a lot of Candace Owens opinions are great. I just personally fucking can't stand her.
That's why I usually I'm already out. If we let Shaniqua's into this kind of stuff, it's just done.
No, to me, I think some of the way she's a little extra sometimes, and also she used to be a leftist that used to try and fucking dox conservatives. So I'm just gonna say that
the public school in Connecticut when she was very young.
Yeah, and again, being younger and making mistakes, I completely understand. Again, there's nuance in everything. I can understand that. I like a lot of the positions she takes, but sometimes her attitude and her character and her persona to me kind of pushes me off of that. But I can also understand how she's been through a lot of backlash from a lot of people that are supposed to be on her side about things, with the whole Daily Wire stuff and with a lot of stuff that's going on. Everyone's attacking her. So I can understand having the immediate defensive position of having to be a little extra. I get that. I can also understand, with Tucker Carlson. I mean, he's, with both of them saying, well, this could happen and this could happen, and assuming this, but I mean, they aren't just making assumptions based off of nothing. I mean, it's almost like we were in a fucking 20-year war with Afghanistan because
weapons of mass destruction that George Bush was like, it's there, and nothing was there, and we just ruined a bunch of people's lives. But it's okay, because politicians can do that. I'm sorry, I was wrong. Yes, everyone just fucking died and got murdered and has PTSD. You fucking bastard.
Yeah, exactly. So I can understand if they're making their assumptions based off historical fact and like we go off.
It's been very proven that politicians lie to people. Yeah,
and I get that. I completely understand that. I also, think that, and there's nuance and other things too, where it's like everyone is like, they're not blaming Trump and they're supporting Trump, like the MAGA fucking loyal are supporting Trump no matter what, which I don't agree with. I don't agree with being blindly fucking loyal to people. That's not, because again, we're all humans, we're all fallible, we all make mistakes. So being blindly loyal to someone, I think, is fucking crazy. But I do, but then again, I don't want to, be associated with like, leftist fucking going after him. So I get the, the back and forth on it, but it's also, but there's a lot of people that aren't blaming him, but are blaming his cabinet, which he's the one who appointed them. So he has some blame in that, but also
he's appointing people that have been historically not on his side or have been very apprehensive to be on his side. those would be the critical decisions that I would be critical of. Like,
Yeah.
I think the House Speaker has been very outspoken. He didn't really like the what Trump was doing many years ago, but
Yeah.
now he's the House Speaker. It's like, did he change his mind, or he went basically, oh wait, secretly he's right, I have to kind of turn at this point? That's what people do. They won't admit they're wrong, but they'll kind of just switch sides.
Yeah, and it's I mean, yeah, then there's conversations and debates to be had about those too. Is it he's just like bending the knee, or did he really come over to that line of thinking? Is he doing it for a political leg up? There's so many different reasonings of why, or or I don't know. So but I do think that calling people like Thomas Massey and Rand Paul fucking horrible, and they need to be you're so fucking dumb for saying that. Thomas Massey and Rand Paul are some of the most principled fucking congressmen that we have. You might not agree with them, but they are principled, and they stick to their principles, and they vote with their principles. They don't just change like a windsock. But I also, with the whoever's in Trump's cabinet and stuff like that, I do also, I can see how those arguments are, have their merit as well, because I mean, you got Marco Rubio as your Secretary of State, dude. Like Marco Rubio, when he was picked as Secretary of State, I was completely against it. Everyone else in his cabinet, I'm pretty much okay with. But Marco Rubio is such a fucking neocon warmonger that I've said this so many times on Whiskey Cap. So many times, everyone who is watching right now from Whiskey Cut, they're probably like, "Oh my god, Ian, shut up!" But if you go back to Marco Rubio's 2015 presidential run, his slogan was a new American century, which that scared the fuck out of me, because if you know about anything about that, the project for a new American century, it was something that was put around in the like the 90s. That was first when it was an ideal, and it was kind of like New World Order shit, basically. With there were 7 countries that the neocons and the warmongers wanted to go into those countries and invade them and regime change them. The only country that we didn't do anything with that yet was Iran. And so having Marco Rubio as your Secretary of State, and then standing right behind Trump while he's making I just thought was like, it's just gross. It's just
the other thing I wanted to go over was the whole illegal immigration thing going on right now, which is crazy, because if people go back, these videos are still available, guys. This stuff is deleted. To be fair, it's the internet. Nothing's ever deleted, right? Go on YouTube, type up Barack Obama, illegal immigrants, just type that. You'll see videos of him saying things very similar to Trump.
The reporter in chief.
Yeah. Bill Clinton did this too. Hillary Clinton also had some very interesting Trump things to say as far as like illegal immigrants. I mean, I understand when someone says, but you should never play but this guy said it too. It's like, no. What people are bringing up with that is that you didn't say anything when this guy did it, but you only are saying it when this guy's doing it. That's the problem. Whenever I say that, I'm not saying that because, well, that should just absolve Trump of like any bad ideas or bad things he might do. I'm saying, why aren't you saying the exact thing and you were this outraged when this person's doing it? That's the problem. And that's how you know it's disingenuous and fake, is because that person is only not liking it because someone they dislike is doing a right thing. You know, like, because if I also want to know this, if America is this bad, why are these people trying to keep these illegal immigrants here? This country's terrible. Fuck out. You shouldn't want them here. Then it's bad. I mean, Whoopi Goldberg said on The View that being a black woman here is worse than being a woman in Iran. All right, that's awesome. You can get out then.
Good God, her and the rest of the people on The View are useless humans. They do nothing for society.
Except Alyssa. Alyssa's I can fix her. I know she's their conservative. I know she's their fucking dildo taken in the ass bitch whenever they give it to her. But I can fix Alyssa, even though she's retarded herself. Good Lord, man.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because now I can say it. Awesome. But it's one of my favorite words, and I'm glad it's back in our vocabulary. We're allowed to say it now. What?
You meant it's black.
Yeah, it's black in our vocabulary. Yes. But no, I think that I think The View is they're a bunch of useless retards. But
if Bill Maher's calling you a useless retard, it's like, fuck.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing, dude. Like I think Bill Maher is a moron, but I also think sometimes he's kind of fucking based. But that doesn't mean that's one thing that conservatives and people on the right do, which is a problem. They're like, oh, Bill Maher said one thing based. He's a new darling of the right. No, he said something based. That's all he did. Like, let's still criticize him for the things that he says that are fucking dumb.
Yeah.
But let's also be like, okay, cool. You said something good. Now let's think more about that.
Yeah,
And like,
he said some really bait stuff, but that's the problem that people on the right do. They're like, "Oh my god, this person said exactly what I was thinking in my head. That must mean that they're on my side." And it's like, no, someone can do that, but not be affiliated with the side. They could just be saying that because that's probably the most level-headed thing to say. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many people that are out there that are just kind of almost like classical liberals in that sense, like, you know, like a Bill Maher or like RFK Jr. or a Tulsi or even a Trump, dude. Like, if you look at a lot of the things that Trump supports, he's fucking Clinton. Like if you look at all the things, Clinton had the same fucking things. I think Clinton and Reagan were the ones who said "Make America Great Again" first. I'm just saying, dude. Like,
it's crazy because there was this game on the WNBA where one of the casters said that's what makes America great. And then the lady that was next to her went straight silent, and then she was like, I apologize, I should rephrase that. You can't even imply that America is great on a cast.
Yeah,
it's crazy. No, and what's crazy is that lady isn't wrong. That's why this country is great. You can disagree, and it is what it is. You just go about your day. But if you can't even imply that America's great because we have the First Amendment here, burn the whole media is just so trash.
But hold on. But we're in a cult because we agree that America is great. But you can't even, on the other side, the one that's not a cult, can't say that. Hold
even
on.
in the gaming space, remember with the whole Splitgate 2 drama where the guy that is the CEO of Split, that company that made Splitgate and Splitgate 2,
Okay.
he wore a hat to a convention or whatever. It was like a hall where they have like the people that come up and ask questions, at a panel. Yeah. His hat said "Make FPS great again." That's all he said. And then he got insane backlash for it, then apologized for it. He was like, I'm sorry. I didn't want to, give people the implication of anything political. I was just talking about the space in gaming with the FPS genre. It needs to improve. I'm like, first of all, why are you apologizing?
Yes.
You just said, okay,
that's the nuance in what I was saying about having accountability and apologizing things. There also is the side of just simping and cucking for, all this woke fucking politically correct bullshit and apologizing to like appease the fucking mob. Like that right there is not, no, I don't agree with that.
I'm surprised you didn't see that. It was so big for a few days. Yeah. Guy literally just wore a hat that said "Make FPS great again." And if you're looking at how the FPS genre has panned out the last 5-6 years, it hasn't been good. I mean, Overwatch is gone. They try to make Concord work. That's gone.
Yeah.
I don't really, can you really, I mean, Call of Duty comes out, but it's like, what is Call of Duty anymore?
Didn't Call of Duty have some like rainbow unicorn fucking gun that like shot dildos or something? I don't know. That's what it's like. Again, I'm not the hugest gamer. So I'm not in that world as much. Like, I have a bunch of friends that are in, gaming on Rumble, stuff. And so like, I kind of hear things, I used to love fucking Smash Brothers and Mario Kart and like fucking Call of Duty.
I'm following the Smash Brothers scene right now. That scene is full of weirdos. That scene.
And when I say Smash Brothers, I mean Smash Brothers on fucking Nintendo 64, like the good times, you know?
Get to the ultra cringy, smelly game, which is Melee. That's what the losers play.
I loved getting fucking drunk and high and playing fucking Super Smash Brothers with 64 with my friends and like fucking Samus and fucking just dropping bombs on people. You know what I mean? Like but that doesn't, and I loved fucking Black Ops and fucking and Modern Warfare, when it first came out, so it was great.
Yeah.
But and Halo obviously and like the early stuff, but as with a lot of stuff, as it expands and becomes older, like you go back to the originals because that's what made it great. And like, so I'm not in that world as much, but at the same time, it doesn't matter what area or what world you're in, like the wokeness and the DEI and the fucking political correctness, which is basically what wokeness is. It's just, the new terminology for fucking political correctness. And it's like, all it does is make society worse because you're not allowed to tell the truth. You're not allowed to say what you fucking mean and what because the truth hurts a lot of the times, and sometimes you're going to say something that's not popular.
That's why I think the average poor broke motherfucker gets mad at rich people, because
Yeah.
they know that rich person can say whatever they want, and it doesn't matter because they have fuck you money, and they don't. They're just
Yeah.
enslaved to just fucking their emotion. That's why women have been just falling off the face of the earth now. Where I mean, it's shown in many studies now. Most men are now not just avoiding women, because you'll still have people that go out to bars and get together
Yeah.
and all that stuff. They're avoiding them in like marriage, like
Yeah.
having kids with them. Guys,
Yep.
that's pretty big. Like,
Yeah. And then and it's like, oh well, what does it matter? I mean, blah blah. It's like, no, it does matter because as it, not to use a Reagan term, but as it trickles down, it
yeah,
affects
everything has a
other
trickle
kids.
effect. Yeah, because this thing that people on like that are more progressive activists, left leaning, they always say like, "Oh, well, why does it hurt you when this happens? It doesn't bother you." That is the most gaslighting, dumb way of thinking of life. Just because it automatically doesn't have an implication towards your personal life doesn't mean that it's a good thing, nor does it mean it's not going to be bad in the future, right? So when
Yeah.
they say certain things like, "Why do you care if this person does a certain surgery and all that stuff?" Well,
Yeah.
first of all, people don't know this logic. It's this thing called social contagion, right? So if there's no pushback for something of bad ideas like that, then they'll just start spreading out, and then they'll start creating this wave where now other people start thinking this bad thing is a good thing, right? And with no pushback on something, that's how most bad things would get created, and that's how most bad things would get pushed. I don't even know what that logic is. It's like, well, if it's not affecting you, why does it matter? Of course it fucking matters. If someone said, hey, in life now, we don't have to drink water anymore because water is bad. And if that person managed to convince like 10 million people that drinking water is bad, we won't be able to drink water anymore, and we probably fucking die. Now, keep in mind, that didn't automatically affect me, but it did
Yeah.
affect people down the road. I don't get it's just the most dumbest line of thinking. All that is stupid. Like,
I also
everything affects everyone. Like,
I agree with you, and also there's a big difference between compelling me to say something and me deciding that I want to like say this. Like, okay, so like with the trans stuff, right? You compelling me and making me agree with your delusion and agree with how you identify and all that stuff. That is not no, fuck that. I'm with Jordan Peterson on that one. You don't compel my speech. But also, we've had Buck Angel on the show, which I don't know if you know who Buck Angel is. Buck Angel is a biological woman who and I will say him because dude looks like fucking Goldberg now. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I've seen a person. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'll say him, I don't care, whatever. He doesn't make me say that. And he calls himself a transsexual, not a transgender.
Mm-hmm.
So like I had him on the show multiple times. And whenever I try and get guests on the show or whatever, it's just like a copy paste message. I'm sure you saw it or whatever. It's just like, hey, blank, would love to have you on the show. This is what we do. Yada yada. If you message back, here's some links, whatever. And so I just said, hey, Buck, blah blah blah, and send him a message. First thing he sent back was, and I'm gonna say it because I'm just repeating what he sent to me. Okay, sorry YouTube, but he said, hey friend, that sounds like a lot of fun. Can we make fun of trannies? And I was like, yes, like you're one of, you know what I mean? Like, of course, that'd be fucking hilarious because you are one. So it'd be even funnier to make fun of. You know what I mean? So like, but and then
even more bigoted of those people that do that. I don't agree with any of that trans stuff. I just don't. I think it's just mental delusion to the top to bottom. But even when there's some of them that don't agree with their inner group or community, whatever the fuck that even means anymore, they get shitted on. Blair White, because keep in mind, Blair White, one of the most popular, you could say, Looney Tunes.
Yeah, and passing is fuck.
And just gets shitted on by that group. I thought that group was the most tolerant. I thought you supposed to be loving and caring and all that stuff. All that is virtue signaling lies. When any company puts that stuff out, they're just liars.
It's just like black conservatives.
Yeah,
because you're an Uncle Tom, or you're still on the plantation, or whatever fucking dumb thing you want to use to. You're like, oh wait, so they're still on the plantation, even though the Black Republicans were the ones that had black people in
They're the ones
in government first,
what I
right?
remember, the
The
conservative
Republicans were the
party.
ones that freed the slaves, and
Yeah.
Democrats were the ones that wanted them,
Mhm.
but they're still on the plan to what?
That's from what I remember, people that were fighting to end slavery were more right leaning. People that were more democratic fought to keep slaves. But
Dude, Abraham Lincoln, I have to talk about Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. He was the one of the ones that started the Republican Party. He was the one that that was for the abolishment of slavery. Southern Democrats were the ones that wanted slaves. And what's another interesting point that no one really talks about is the whole 3/5 compromise, right?
Mhm.
Everyone says it was fucking racist because they're saying black people were only 3/5 of a person. No, it's not what it was. The 3/5 compromise was the Southern Democrats, just like Democrats now, want to have all these illegal aliens and count as citizens so they have more representation in government. That's what they wanted to do with slaves. The slaves that didn't have any representation, weren't able to vote, didn't have freedom. The Southern Democrats wanted to count them as a full constituent so they could have, because the more constituents you have, the more people that you have, then the more congressional seats and House seats that you have. Senate is it's you two per state, whatever, but it depends on population for the House. So the more people they could count as a part of the census, then that means that they had more representation. So basically, what the Republicans in the North was saying was, no, yes, they're still in your society and they're still a part of it. So I guess they have some sort of representation, but it kind of goes back to the taxation without representation thing. It's like we're not being represented, so we're going to have a compromise of they are 3/5 of a person because we don't want to give you all this power. Because if that would have happened, slavery never would have been abolished. So I mean,
also, this is the same party that started the KKK as well. But people had said, but now they would lean right. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all.
No, they wouldn't. Like, that argument is ridiculous. And yeah, the KKK was started because Democrats got mad that we took away.
Also, the leader now, literally recently, because let's even use that argument. Oh, well, they would be Republicans now, which is not true. Like, I don't believe that in any way possible. Yeah. That same person who leads it right now voted for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, Richard Spencer, the one who's like the fucking alt-right fucking white supremacist or whatever, he supported fucking Joe Biden.
Yeah, they sure lean conservative now. The leader of the KKK. It's like people just believe any. This is why the most average person is dumb as fuck. When someone says that, the Democrats started the KKK. It's just factually provable. I'm not making this up. You can look it up on Google. You can. It'll prove they did. Even if you can look it up on left-leaning websites. It's proven they started it. Someone will be like, but they now would lean differently. Doesn't matter. They're the ones who started it. That doesn't matter at all. I don't care about what they do now.
And in the 60s, during the Civil Rights era, the Southern Democrats were the ones that opposed it. They were the ones that still wanted separate water fountains, separate bathrooms, separate everything. And then what they did, because Democrats are fucking great at scheming, is they were like, you know what? Nah, let's say we support them and do all these things for them so we can still keep them down. Because I mean, that happened. And then Planned Parenthood was a thing. And Margaret Sanger is literally quoted as saying, this needs to be in inner cities and fucking black neighborhoods because we need to get rid of all the fucking black kids. Like, but I mean, and then if you
look at Biden now, basically, I don't want my kids going to a racial jungle, whatever. To be fair, technically speaking, I never actually shitted on him for that because I understand being a parent and not wanting your kids to go to a bad neighborhood school. That I didn't think was, I'll be honest, I truly think that was that bad. But when he said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black, that's the one where people should be more mad at. He literally basically said, he doesn't even see you if you're a black man, he basically said, I don't see you as a human being.
I see you as a skin color. Okay. And the thing that I don't understand why more black people didn't get offended by it is, so the whole I love kids, the hair on my legs and I love kids, whatever. I don't know if you noticed, but what he was referencing when he talked about that is he said he was talking about roaches at the very beginning of the thing, and then he said
other one.
And no, and then so he did that whole story. He says, I know about roaches, and I'm like, are you calling black kids roaches? Like, what the fuck, dude?
The other one, remember how he was on that senator call, and then the senator basically said or they admitted that he didn't think black people were even human beings or whatever, that he thought they were lesser people, and Joe Biden
Yeah,
agreed.
yeah. And he also said, like, I think poor kids are just as smart and just as capable as white kids, and you're all
You're like, what does that even
like,
mean?
what?
Yeah,
Like,
he was showing early signs of his brain not working
yeah,
years ago.
dude. I mean, I have a sense of humor, so I can find things funny. I
Mhm.
laughed hilariously at shit like that because of the comedic element. And it's even funnier because he wasn't trying to do it as a joke. Like, that's really what he was fucking trying to say. So it's even kind of funnier, but like, that's fucked up. That's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, my opinion aside of like fucking ghetto culture and victim mentality and so much shit that goes on in the wider black community, I still don't agree with. I still think that there is a way to discuss that
Mhm.
if everyone could actually have the discussion and
What's
not
the
be
other
pussy.
line of logic that goes for that, which is basically just because you're not black, they don't think you're allowed to discuss black issues, but then they're allowed to discuss issues on Mexican people, white people,
Yeah,
Asian people, and it's like, what? That's
yeah,
just stupid. Like,
yeah.
I don't even know what lines of logic, who even creates it. Not the person who creates it. Everyone just believes it. They just go with it. No line of thinking. No like going, hey, this doesn't even sound that good. No, I believe you. Fucking hell, like AOC is now being like, we should impeach Trump. No, we shouldn't. We should throw you out of the country because you're
Dude,
useless.
yeah, literally. Like,
Jasmine Crockett.
oh my god,
Imagine the
dude.
running duo of Jasmine Crockett and AOC for 2028. It'd be, I think. Yeah, just imagine that. That would be the first ever woman duo running duo. Trying to be. Imagine this throughout the last like what 3, 4 cycles of presidential election. If AOC runs, we'll have like 3 women that have almost got to the finish line of becoming president. It's
Yeah, and
crazy.
dude, that I think the sticking the main point of that ticket wouldn't be the first all woman ticket. It would be the first ticket sponsored by the Special Olympics
Mhm.
because they're both retarded.
Or unless you're gonna go watch Ironheart.
Dude,
Even the
I
show, even the media is like, this is bad. This is
like
bad.
okay, I'm a huge fucking Marvel nerd. I love Marvel and comics and all that stuff. And so just like there's nuance in everything, every Marvel movie, every Marvel project that's come out, I can still find good in, and I'm still gonna watch because I like superheroes. I like all that stuff. I mean, my band Hero and Me, the whole story behind it is based off a superhero concept for the whole band. So I'm definitely a nerd when it comes to fucking superheroes. So I'm still going to watch it, and I'm still going to, and I'm sure there's probably going to be something in there that's cool that I can, like and whatever and point to. There's probably going to be a bunch of dumb woke shit like there has been for the past 5, 6 years of Marvel shit. But I like with Captain Marvel, I didn't like it, but I thought there were also some cool stuff in there and that I can point to. Eternals was a shit movie, but there also was some cool stuff in there. Like I mean, Loki, I think Loki was fucking amazing. The whole show was amazing, but there still were some couple little, dumb woke parts in there.
Mhm.
But again, I think again it goes back to the black, like everything's black or white with people. And it's like, no, there still are cool things about it. Like Agatha All Along wasn't my favorite thing, but I still watched it and there were still some cool parts about that. Still some cool backstory stuff. And whatever the fact that Wanda's son was fucking gay, and of course, because they have to put gay in there and whatever. I thought that was ridiculous, but I thought the premise of how he came into the pause. He became a new like someone that died, like some kid that died, and his aura or his spirit or whatever was in that dead body and now became Billy or whatever.
Right.
Like, I thought that was kind of a cool concept. And like, and then now going after, did you watch Agatha all along?
No, the last show I watched out of that was She-Hulk. It was like
Yeah,
She-Hulk season 1, episode 6. I had because we were watching these basically from like when the episodes were premiering
yeah,
new, and then it got to the point where it was basically this is just these shows are not good. They don't know
yeah,
how to write television, and I kept having the same feeling with them over and over. The only one that I think was good to a certain extent was Falcon Winter Soldier. I told people it's not from the
yeah,
Sam Wilson stuff. It's
yeah,
actually from uh John Walker, portrayed by
yeah,
Riot Russell. might be the best character they've introduced since Endgame ended. Probably is the best character they've introduced since Endgame ended. That show gave you John Walker. Keep in mind, he killed a terrorist.
He killed the Antifa, basically.
Yeah, and keep in mind, it's one of those shows where the buddy. I just want a little bit more out of it. I get the villains are bad, but the MCU's had bad villains like pretty much forever, honestly.
Yeah, I like what they did with Nemo. With I think our
Baron Zemo,
right?
Yeah,
the Zemo. Sorry, yeah, I like what they did with him in that show. It was great. WandaVision was still a fucking cool concept too. I mean, a little hokey, a little cheesy with the different. But I really liked what they did. My personal thing on that, because I'm a nerd and I really wanted this, and they didn't have really X-Men or mutants or anything like that, is I really wish they would have went with the House of M storyline, but kind of twisted it. So like, because in the House of M, Wanda has a freak out chaos magic, whatever, says no more mutants, all the mutants are gone, right? I think it would have been really, really cool if at the end of this show is they twisted on that, because they weren't even saying mutants yet. They were saying it, the enhanced in the field, or whatever, is if what they did was she had a freak out at the end with her chaos magic and said, let there be mutants. And so that's what introduced mutants into the multiverse. I thought that would have been really cool. But I think the show was very interesting, and I liked a lot of the stuff they did with it. Same with Loki, dude. Loki's fucking awesome. The best, I think my personal opinion is the best Marvel TV show that they've come out with. Fucking great. And see that, that's one of the things too about the people that are against everything woke, doesn't matter, whatever, don't understand things. It's like they were mad that like they had Loki as like a woman character, like one of the variants was Sylvie, or the woman. It's like, do you know the backstory of Loki? He turned himself into a horse and fucked himself, right? Like,
when he kissed her, I was like, all right, this man loves himself.
Exactly. There's that representation of it's the narcissism. It's like he loves himself. So that, like, the point behind that was very, very cool. Weird, definitely weird, but a very interesting and cool concept they went with. And so, like, again, that, like, there's some people that just get mad about everything for no reason. It's like, no, look at that. Like, that's really fucking cool, annoying. And it's like, just like I've said this a bunch of times too, but like with the like in Endgame, when they had the woman team up moment, like, oh, she has help, or she's whatever,
like, we will protect you. Yeah, I remember that when Tom Holland was running with the gauntlet, or whatever. Oh, so
the funniest thing about that is that, so Captain Marvel is like the most powerful superhero, right? That's what she's being billed as, even though no one really liked her comics, and everyone thought she was fucking annoying. But anyway, so she's being billed as the most like powerful hero, or being in the universe at that point. So you're telling me that Hawkeye, who has no powers, carried the gauntlet through a war zone, a battlefield by himself, then passed it off to Black Panther, definitely who's powerful and has some powers or whatever, but not as powerful as Captain Marvel, carried it by himself through the battlefield, and then passed it off to Spider-Man, who definitely powerful, has some good stuff, not as powerful as Captain Marvel, carried it himself, right? And then meets up with Captain Marvel, and the most powerful being needs 9 other bitches. What? So you were trying to do a yes queen moment, but you made her look dumb. Like,
also, she was, we're supposed to be told that this is a really, really powerful character. She like barely fights Thanos, and then just has that one cool moment where he hits her head and it doesn't nothing happens, and she still loses. Like, it's one of these things where I would have loved, just because that it's not House of X, it's House of M, that was written by Brian Michael Bendis, right?
Yeah.
Easily, that is one of my favorite comic book stories ever. That moment, because it's one of the more real. I like the stories like Civil War, where they're I know it's fantasy, but there's the realistic elements to them, where it gives you that extra layer to the story, where they're actually contemplating, like, hey, this person's like really overpowered. Should we kind of get rid of her? And even though it's crazy in theory, because they should love her and they should be their teammate. That is a thing you must think about. Super, like, this person is so overpowered, she might just fucking turn on us and kill us all one day.
Like, and then Sentry, I think Molecule Man was one of those too in some of the comics. A lot of that shit, It
was crazy, because wasn't it Captain America that was like, hey, I don't think we should really do this, or he was the one that said they should. I forgot. fucking don't remember, honestly. It's been so long since I've read that story, but that
Yeah.
moment where she was like, "No more mutants." Oh my goodness, I
Yeah.
fucking. Oh my god.
And that's what I'm saying. It would have been so cool if within the MCU, because I understand that they weren't, because of rights with Sony and X-Men and Fantastic Four and Spider-Man, all that, so they weren't allowed to have X-Men. Because if they had X-Men, Civil War would have been a crazier event. The original Avengers would have been a crazier movie. Like so many other things. There would have been so many other stories they could have branch off of
Yeah, I
those.
remember it was
Movies.
Captain America that said they should seek an alternate method to dealing with Wanda, like maybe
Yeah.
suppress her powers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember they were meeting with like the Avengers and X-Men, and it's like, oh my
Yep.
god, Emma Frost was like, I wish you
Yeah.
just kill Wanda. Well, of course Emma Frost
Emma
would say
Frost
kill
was
Wanda.
gnarly. Yeah. But I mean, it
But
would have been
what
so.
happened to that Captain America where he was like, no, we're not supposed to do this. What were we thinking? Like, I
Yep.
love elements of stories like that. I absolutely do.
Where it gives you that believable, like grounded in some sort of like
Yeah.
understandable, like I get why he said that, dude. Like, bitch is
And then,
crazy.
like Magneto is,
Yeah.
talking to Quicksilver. Oh, it's such a great book. Even if you guys, the omnibus costs a lot of money. Like, I'll probably end up shelling out the money for it later on when I take off all these PayPal paying fours that I have
Yeah.
on right now. I'm definitely getting it. I have to trade, but man, having an omnibus, I would love to have that in my fucking collection. Man, I love that story. So damn good. If anyone hasn't read it, read House of M. It's just trade paperback. It costs like less than $20.
So good.
It's really good. You'll go like, damn, comics used to be this good? Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah,
Yeah,
too
I
long
mean,
ago.
if you go back, that one, the Infinity Gauntlet fucking story is great. The Secret
one
Wars is great.
Yeah, that Infinity Gauntlet story, where it's Thanos with his hands with his arms like this, so
Yeah.
damn good. Yeah,
So good. And I really hope the Secret Wars storyline is going to be good that they're coming out with. I'm glad that it's going to be the Russo brothers that are directing it, because they're every movie that they've had a hand in the MCU has been amazing. Fucking Falcon, or I mean the Captain America, Winter Soldier, Civil War, the Endgame and Infinity War. Those four are top five, top 10 fucking Marvel movies. And so them doing Doomsday and doing Secret Wars,
it's also crazy that the Russo brothers weren't even considered to do those movies back when they wanted to do like Kang Dynasty and then Secret Wars, because it took RDJ being casted as Doctor Doom, which was, you could say they should have chose someone else, but they brought him back. He was like, I'm not doing this unless they're doing it. The fact that they weren't even considered is insane.
Yeah,
they weren't even considered.
I was really definitely agree with you on that one. But I was hoping that the Kang Dynasty stuff was gonna be around, because I think Jonathan Majors was great. Jonathan Majors is amazing as fucking what Franklin Richards, the He Who Remains, fucking all like his character as Kang, and him portraying him in like 3 or 4 different ways. Like his range of acting is great. I mean, it sucks, what happened, outside of that. But I think I was really looking forward to seeing him, be in the Kang Dynasty. I've heard that they might do something with him at some point, but also with Robert Downey Jr. playing Victor Von Doom, I think is kind of genius, and I'm really hoping that they do something with it, because if you remember back in the comics, there was a storyline where Victor Von Doom and Tony Stark went to college together, and they knew each other, and Victor Von Doom had some sort of fucking device where he switched their personalities in their bodies. So Tony Stark was actually in Victor Von Doom's body and vice versa, and so that is from a different universe, and different in the multiverse. That could have been the thing, and that might be the universe that that Victor Von Doom's from, or Doctor Doom's from in Doomsday. So I mean, that could be the storyline. I don't know. Kind of
So, what was the last Marvel comic run you had read for a character? Or how long you been out of comics, or are you still buying?
No, I've been out of comics for buying them and reading them for like a while, since I was definitely younger. But I mean, I still, like Comics Explained and like a lot of the YouTube, I still like, there's a lot of them that I'll read up and I'll be like, oh, I remember that, or oh, this was interesting, and like, whatever. So but I still remember a lot of the storylines that happened. But
And the last few things I'll ask you here for the night's show. First thing is, do you have anything planned coming up that you would like to let the audience know about?
So like I said, tomorrow night, if you watch the Whiskey Cap, just go follow it on Rumble. I'll put up the I'll put up the links here in the chats here in a minute. But yeah, Whiskey Cap, Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Usually on Mondays it's just me and a guest, usually, and then on Wednesdays I have, tomorrow night is the start of a new co-host, which I'm not announcing until tomorrow. You just got to tune in. But yeah, it's going to be a new co-host tomorrow. Like I said as well, my band Hero and Me. I'll put the links, all the links in the chat and stuff too. We just released an album May 30th. So go check that out. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Rumble, YouTube Music, Tidal, Deezer, all the things, iHeartRadio. Go check us out. I super appreciate it. It's like metalcore meets gent and hardcore and stuff, punk rock and stuff like that. So if you like that, I think you'll like it. And if you like comics and superheroes and nerd shit, the whole concept of the band, it's like a whole band concept where each album is going to be a story. The first one is called Act One Reveal. So it's about this one's about the heroes of the story. The second album, which I'm in the process of doing, is going to be about the villain. Then third album is going to be like a good, war between, good and evil kind of thing. So like I'm kind of going down the line. So if you like that type of music and you like the story, or you like those types of stories, then that's definitely up your alley. I also have a podcast with my wife every other Saturday called the Till Death Podcast. We just talk about random shit, just relationships, health issues, and it's a lot less politics than just dick and fart jokes, but yeah, a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of cool potential things coming up in the works for the Whiskey Cabin, for all the shows, and for myself as well. Can't really drop that quite yet, but just stay tuned. And yeah, let me get those links going real quick.
Yeah, no worries. How's Eric July's Dark Side of the Moon song doing? I've not heard it. Eric July, he does like heavy metal and stuff like that. I'm just not that kind of genre fan, honestly.
I've
that
known,
music is not good to me.
My
opinion.
Yeah, and to each their own, but what was I gonna say? Yeah, so what's up, Divinity Comics? I appreciate you. I'm actually, anyone out there watching right now that, or watching the replay or whatever, that would like to help out, a musician over here, me. I'm gonna try and do like a graphic novel with this whole story with the Hero and Me stuff that I'm doing right now. Kind of like, if you know who Coheed and Cambria is, their whole concept that they did with their stuff, they did theirs was, it's a concept band. Every single album and everything was a part of a story. It was more like Lord of the Rings, like, and all that stuff. But they did graphic novels. They did all their stuff, and I'm kind of trying to go for that kind of thing, but with like superheroes and stuff. So anyone that wants to hit me up and kind of talk about that, definitely. I put up Rumble and the solo.to things for Whiskey Cap. Here is also the X. Let me see real quick, and then I'll put up the Hero and Me stuff as well. So if you want to check it out or do any of that stuff, it would be much appreciated. Let me see real quick. Yeah, let me see. I think this is the right one. But yeah, just trying to get that off the ground and get that moving. But we've gotten a good response so far from it, which is cool and always awesome. But
yeah, it's good to finally have you on the show and talk about your music career. It's glad you're getting back into it. I've been also kind of getting back into some of the things that I used to love, because there's always that part of your life where you have certain things happening, you have other things going on that where you kind of don't want to do them as much because of a lot of different reasons. I'm definitely gonna get back into watching more movies and TV shows and stuff like that. I feel like I've been a little bit out of the game for a little too long. We definitely have a lot of movie projects we still need to do on the channel. I'm still gonna be doing. People want me to talk about horror movies for some reason, because people like when I talk about horror movies. So I like to analyze a lot of movies good. I'm not saying it's going to happen anytime soon, but we are going to get back into the game. But as you guys know, we're also doing so many things here. It's just God, what time for everything. But the last thing I'll ask you, man, is do you have any shout outs? You want to get to anyone in particular and anything else you want to say before we head out?
Real quick, what I will say is I just put one more thing in there. It's solo.to/Till Studios. It's what I'm doing with any video production, any audio production you need done. I do like video assets and stuff for podcasts, everything that's on Whiskey Cap or any of our shows I have done. And then also I would like Divinity Comics says I would like to shout out my white son MSK.
Goddamn, Mike, what happened to you?
And also any audio production, any mixing, mastering. If you're a musician, if you need some stuff done or need some stuff done for audio stuff on podcasts, hit me up. I have my own little studio going on right here, so that would be awesome. Any shout outs?
You gotta get on. Gotta get on Substack. Apparently, people put the Whiskey Capitalist podcast on Substack.
Yeah, exactly. Get everything going on over there. What I will
you got Spotify, right? Yeah, you put the shows over there too.
No, none of the podcast stuff. That right there is just that Spotify link is for my band stuff.
Okay.
But I mean, even if it's not your style of music, just go over there and at least follow, like it. It helps out. All the things you got to do on the internet that support people. But yeah, I'd like to shout out. There's a bunch of people over on Rumble and that have been helping us out. Leslie, otherwise known as Titty Peen Gal. She is basically like our team mom. She kind of wrangles all the retards together. She is awesome. She's helped out so much. And then Lindy Rigg, Beyond Formal, Sean Cav, Casey the Soundboard Lord, a bunch of people over the Channel 2 Action News. It's like so cool. And then Crash with the Fury Cast. They're awesome. They're a new network that they're they're building up right now. They have it's Crash Fury. He's had me on the show a good bunch of times. He's a great dude. And then the Two Guys One Coup podcast. Their name alone is hilarious. But yeah, no, they're great, great dudes. And just anyone that's making content and that isn't a turd. You know what I mean? Anyone that likes having conversations, doesn't treat people, doesn't, talk from, holier than thou, kind of attitude. And also what I will say, the reason why me and you have kind of come in contact is the Weekly Rogues Gallery. Iron Oxide and Selena and Theo and all of them and Professor Savage Dad. You guys are awesome, and I love all you guys. And they had me on the show for each single and the album coming out. So all three of them will let me come on the show and go promote so you guys are fucking great. Thank you so much.
Hell yeah. So
thank you, sir.
Oh God, thanking a black man or a white black man. We lost him. He's finally going to be going to the dark side. We lost him, guys.
An hour and 37 minutes, and then damn it.
What's crazy is that I went on his show just talking about just women and how bad they were, and all the women just agreed. Yeah, because if you notice, it's crazy in life. If you just notice something, other people don't really have a platform to say things. They'll just kind of gravitate to agreeing with you. But then other people will be like, "Oh, well, you get to fucking misogynist." People always say, never tell me I'm wrong. They don't say I'm wrong at all. They don't say, you're fucking wrong. No, I'm not. The crazy is, I actually look up the things I talk about. I'm not just saying these things because, God forbid, I'm just making these up, Yeah,
it's like, misogyny means that you hate women. I don't hate them.
I actually don't hate women at all. I actually like women a lot. I would like to bang a lot of women.
I'm married to one. I obviously don't hate them.
I just, it's crazy because that's how much we have of soy boys in the world. Calling out women's bad behaviors apparently means you just automatically means you hate them. It's not because you just are seeing a problem and you're like, I don't like it. No, it just automatically must mean, hey, calling this out as you're bad. You're the bad person. You notice things that are bad. Yeah, it means you're the problem. No, what people doing the bad problem.
You do realize that I also think men are fucking idiots too. But that's not what we're talking about here.
It's like, when I had the conversation about why men are morons, sure, perfectly fine. But apparently, if you just even imply that
women are idiots for the OnlyFans, and men are idiots for buying the OnlyFans.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So there's culpability both ways.
It's crazy because you just even implying that women are just not good, it just automatically must mean you must have your whole life ruined and you just are just the worst person ever. Such crazy soy boy beta cuck mentality. But yeah, as you guys know, my 2 days off now are Mondays and Tuesdays. So, we could potentially have the MSK show on Mondays earlier, like 6 p.m. PST, potentially, Tuesdays, next week, we'll have me and Last Comic Fan back on the show again. He had a health problem that came up. So I just didn't think he would be on the show or able to come on the show this week. So I had to book some shows for today. And, tomorrow we have our panel show with me and Lunchbox Warren. Thursday, I have a one-on-one. Then I have the Cloud9 podcast. Friday, me and Lunchbox Warren. And then Saturday, I don't know what I'm doing Saturday. Maybe I have sex with my wife Saturday. Who knows? Maybe I play League of Legends. Who knows? I've taken too many back-to-back L's recently. My mechanics are just fucking awful at this point. But yeah, you guys are awesome. I'm gonna try and get the pre-recorded videos out for you guys on this channel. They're done. They're literally just unlisted. I just haven't put the thumbnails on them yet. They're literally done. Everything is finished, ready to come out. I have so much content that I'm gonna be able to be uploading on this channel, my comic book one, and that's pretty much it. I'm gonna also end up uploading the rest of the episodes of the Cloud9 podcast currently on my Spotify for podcasters platform, which is Spotify in general. And then I'm going to upload the rest of the Iron Man podcast episodes up there as well. And then I'll upload these episodes from this show when that's done, because the Iron podcast, as you guys know, is no more, because just like my dad, it left me. So thank you guys.
Real quick. The last thing that a couple things I want to say real quick is, for one, thank you for having me on. And anytime you need me on, I down, just hit me up. We'll get that on. Anytime you want to come on the show, you are more than welcome. That was an awesome conversation. I loved it. And anyone out there that's watching this that either wants to come on a political show and talk some shit and have fun, you're more than welcome. Hit me up on the Whiskey Cap, the links in the chat. Go check that out. Hit me up. And also, anyone that wants this retard on their show, hit me up.
What did I do? God, I just see comic books so much, and I just want to buy them all. Like,
yes.
God damn.
Yes.
I just want to have them part of my collection. That's what people know. I got too many books, but I love it.
Plugins, dude. I'm like with recording and editing. I'm like, oh, I want that one, and that one does this, and yes,
I have you said you have notes. Every content creator should do this. You should have a note where you write down things you're gonna do for your channels or wherever place you create content for, because writing things makes you remember them easier. I have I have like a few omnibuses that I'll just copy and paste the names, just put them in my notepad. I've copy and paste a lot of things, but I have to pay off my PayPal paying fours that I put myself back into. So yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys for checking out this episode of the MSK Show. We will see you guys later.